There are agendas available in the file pockets near the entrance or online at the City of Waterville's website. All items appearing on the consent agenda are voted on in one motion and vote. Generally, these items are routine in nature and do not require discussion. All items listed under unfinished business or new business are voted on separately. First, councilors will be given an opportunity for questions or comments. And then, once councilors have had an opportunity to speak, citizens will be given an opportunity for comments or questions. Citizens must speak at the podium and identify themselves. Each citizen will be allowed one opportunity to speak and will be limited to 3 minutes. Finally, the councilors will be given another opportunity to speak or comment. Citizens who would like to speak on a topic that does not appear on tonight's agenda will have an opportunity to do so at the end of the meeting under public comment section. Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Disclosure of conflict of interest. Does anyone have a conflict with the vote they'll take tonight? Seeing none, I will move to manager's report first.
Good evening, everybody. I have several items to talk to you about tonight, starting with the paving program for this summer. The reclaims, shims, and overlays and sidewalk work that's being done in the south end is about 85% complete at this point. And the work is looking good. The sidewalks in particular look excellent. The fall schedule for reconstruction of King Street, Veterans Court, and Cary Court will be posted as soon as we know what the actual dates are going to be. The West River Road has been milled. Paving will come soon. We're not sure of the exact schedule, but those of you who've driven the road at this point, it's already better than it was. Silver Street and Elm Street schedules for resurfacing have been narrowed down to later this summer, as opposed to sometime in the fall. So we should expect by the time we get into the fall that we're going to have new roads virtually everywhere in the downtown area. In the parks, the playground equipment for all of the playgrounds has been ordered. It's due to be delivered sometime between August and mid-September. Prep work on the playgrounds is underway, including basketball courts, due to be resurfaced at Moore Street, I believe, and Chaplin Street. There was a concern that was shared with me last week about the condition of the Chaplin Street playground, where there's a pile of soil that was removed from where the basketball court was, and that the pole that the basketball backboard was on was left standing. We've taken a look at that, and I don't know what the outcome of it is, but the Public Works Department was instructed to make it safer than it is and to post it as to what status the work is in and when it's likely to be completed. The Green Street Skate Park is scheduled to begin work August 15th. So there'll be a lot of work going on there. It'll probably take a month at least to finish it. But when it's done, it's going to be a very positive attraction at Green Street. For those who aren't aware, the Cal Ripken World Series for under 12, I think it is,
12 years.
Is going to be this weekend, starting August 6th through the 13th. And it's going to be held at Purnell Wrigley Field on Matthews Avenue and at Mini Fenway Park in Oakland. First pitches are going to be thrown out by the mayor, by me, by the chief of police, and I think other city officials. Also, the Taste of Waterville is tomorrow at Hedda Falls. Don't miss it. It's a big deal, and it's going to be a lot of fun. In the fire department, we have some interesting activity there. In July, the fire department responded to 500 calls for service. 390 of them were medical calls, and of those, 290 were medical transports. That averages out to about 10 transports a day, which is just exactly on the mark that Chief Essler predicted. So we're right on track with that. We expect to have the EMS staffing completed with people on board by the end of August. There are offers out now to 5 or 6 qualified people, and they're going through the background checks, I believe. Yep. Delta and Waterville Fire Department are working hand in hand to support each other in a mutual aid environment. Both parties have been responding to calls that the other can't handle. So that relationship is working well at this point. And then finally, in the fire department, the new 4-shift schedule that was part of this new union contract is having a very positive impact on the physical readiness of the firefighters as well as their morale. So that was a very good decision. In the police department, there is intersection work being done, planning being done with Maine DOT at the intersection of Drummond and Armory Roads, right by the National Guard Armory. They're going to narrow down the intersection a little bit with markings and corner sidewalks, that they're going to make it into a 4-way stop and hopefully channel the traffic in such a way that it slows it down and makes it safer. We anticipate that the state is going to pick up the tab for that. We will not. But when they do, that work should be done probably this fall. The K-9 unit that we have, our officer and the dog named
Riggs.
Riggs, thank you, is working out very, very well. So far, Riggs has tracked down 2 burglary suspects who have both been charged. So he's a good asset to the department. The police department is down 5 officers at this point, and we have a recruitment underway. The mayor has been gracious enough to apply his video and entertainment talents to a recruiting video that he's produced in conjunction with the police department. It couples up with one that he's already done for the fire department, and the police department video will be available on the city's social media sites, the mayor's social media site, and the city's website very, very soon. That's what I have tonight.
Any questions for Steve before we move on? Oh,
There's one other thing.
go ahead.
And this is very important. The Committee for Secure and Safe Elections, which is based in Washington, D.C., is it a federal committee?
Yes.
It's a federal government committee, has invited our esteemed city clerk to come and participate in a program that they're putting on in Washington to think and talk about how to deal with elections to make them more secure and safer. This is a follow-on to the event that she and Chief Massey went to in Florida a few months ago. And if you'd like to hear more about it, I'll turn it over to Patty.
Tell us, Patty.
Yes, this is a committee at the federal level consisting of representatives from law enforcement, election officials, Microsoft. We're actually going to be at the Microsoft facility in Washington, D.C. about cybersecurity. People from the Department of Justice, Department of Homeland Security, Brennan Center for Law. So it's a very robust organization that's working at the national level to advocate for enhanced federal and state laws to protect election workers, and also to build relationships with between law enforcement and election officials to enhance their security. So I'm happy to be a part of it, and the tab is being paid by Brennan Center for Law.
I think we should all be proud of Patty in this regard, because things that have happened here in Waterville have launched her to this national spotlight. because of her thinking, her tenacity, her commitment to making elections safer for all the election workers. So I applaud her.
Council committees.
Way to go, Patty.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I just have a question on the, for Steve, regarding, can you hear me?
Regarding,
Yeah, regarding the maintenance schedule. How can people find out when their street will be under construction or,
we're doing
cetera.
3 things right now.
okay,
One is that we have electronic signboards that we're doing our best to keep up to date and put them in locations where the work is imminent. The second is that we're posting that information on the city's website as well as the Public Works Facebook page. And the third thing is that we've been going door to door in some cases in neighborhoods through ourselves and the contractors to let people know that work is going to be done and when it's going to be done.
great. Thank
We
you.
got off to a little bit of a rocky start, but I think we're communicating a lot better now.
Okay, and so the information on the, on the website and Facebook, that's in sort of real time? I did notice the schedule, and the general schedule is up on the front page, but this is kind of up to the minute. This
Well-
week, we're doing,
Yeah, we're trying to keep it as current as possible.
okay,
So when we know any change in information, I believe we're posting that up on the website.
great, thank you.
Any other questions for Steve? All right, moving on to council committees. Councilor.
So I have, this is a kind of a hybrid announcement of a new program that's a result of both the Housing Committee and the ARPA Committee. It's a home repair program that is being launched by the Waterville Community Land Trust and Waterville Area Habitat for Humanity. And it's funded in part by funds that are city funds, but were recommended by the ARPA committee this past year. So $7,000 went to the Community Land Trust. And what they're doing in this program is very exciting. They've partnered, as I said, with Waterville Habitat for Humanity to create a loan program where people, homeowners at 80% or less of area median income can get a grant up to $2,500 to do home repair. And this includes quite a wide array of things, from replacing fencing to repairing siding, replacing screens, exterior modifications for wheelchairs, things that are really needed by a lot of folks in our community. Some of the money for this program has been earmarked for the South End, but there is available funding for homes throughout the city. So, applications are being accepted from July 1st to November 1st or until funds run out. And any further information can be obtained from the Waterville Community Land Trust or Habitat for Humanity. And I am just, excited that this is rolling forward, and thank the leaders of those two organizations for spearheading it, and the committee for choosing this, the ARPA committee for choosing this as a worthy cause. So, spread the word.
That is good news. Anyone else? All right, moving on to, go ahead.
I'd like to, I don't know whether this is the correct time in the meeting or during the councilor comments, but I'd like to propose the establishment of a climate resiliency committee. I don't hopefully, if the other counselors are amenable to it, I can introduce that at the next scheduled council meeting.
Send it to us. We can put it on the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah, we've had some preliminary discussions, Tom and I and Claude, about the need for such a committee. And we do have some funding that's been granted to Waterville through KV-COG for climate resiliency. So we're excited to move forward on that. And we'll get it on the next agenda.
Getting some of our money back.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, yeah, you can talk about that at the end, but I would send it to us so we can put it on the agenda.
Right on.
Now I'm gonna move to
Good enough.
consent agenda.
So moved.
I move that we
Go first.
take the agenda by title only.
I was just trying to
the right
remember
time
how
for
to
that?
say it. Second.
Patty, can I get a roll call?
Counselor DeBrito? Sorry, Counselor DeBrito?
Yes.
Counselor Klepak?
Yep.
Counselor Green?
Yes.
Counselor Frankie?
Yes.
Counselor McCormick?
Yes.
Vote is 5 in favor and 0 opposed.
All right.
Now on to the
Now to
consent
the consent
agenda.
agenda, yes.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
We're
Rick,
gonna have
we
to
miss
practice
you.
this with only 5 of you.
I know.
We already miss Rick.
All set?
Yeah.
Counselor DeBrito?
Yes.
Counselor Klepak?
Yeah.
Counselor Green?
Yes.
Counselor Frankie?
Yes.
Counselor McCormick?
Yes.
The vote is 5 in favor and 0 opposed.
All right. Moving on to old business. Resolution 151, 2022.
Establishing a reserve account for the future care of the Riverwalk.
Move to adopt. Motion to move.
I think one of you.
There's a motion. Is there a second to put it on the floor?
Yes.
There's a second.
Okay.
I would also like to propose an amendment
Yes.
based on the advice of our solicitor, who recommended that we move this as an order rather than a resolution because it was established in that fashion. So it would just mean that we have 2 votes instead of 1.
Yes. So is
So-
there a second to that amendment?
Second.
Okay. Shall we vote on the amendment?
Yes.
Counselor DeBrito?
Yes.
Counselor Klepak?
Yes.
Counselor Green?
Yes.
Counselor Frankie?
Yes.
Counselor McCormick?
Yes.
Vote is 5 in favor and 0 opposed. Let's move it as amended. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second amendment.
Is there a
Second.
second? Thank you.
I'm gonna give Mike an opportunity to speak.
Yes.
Go ahead, Mike.
Thank you. Mike Roy, Ward 4, and I'm here along with Jeff Melanson with the Waterville Rotary Club to ask for your support tonight in regards to this resolution now order, which I agree with. It probably should be in order. And the other thing we were hoping to do tonight, in addition to getting the reserve account established, is to talk about our new program for the maintenance at the Riverwalk, which we're calling Adopt a Garden. And I know that all of you got a copy of this earlier. And what we're hoping to do is to establish a kind of a tri-party arrangement with the maintenance of the Riverwalk between the city, volunteers, like those of us in the Rotary Club, and some of the work will have to be contracted out too when we have major repairs or security cameras that are going up, those kind of items. So I think with those 3 approaches, we can really make a huge improvement in the way the Riverwalk has been or has not been maintained over the last 4 years. And it's at no fault of anyone, especially the city's Parks and Rec Department. But clearly, there's stuff there that hasn't been done. And I give Jeff Melanson, the past president of the Rotary Club, a huge amount of credit because he got our Rotary Club, which numbers total 45, 50 people. Not all of them showed up, but we had 5 work days, and we put in a total of 100 man and woman hours over the course of 2 years, last year, so far this year. We hope to have 2 more work days. So we go in, we weed through a bed, one of the planting beds, do pruning, take the weeds out, put new mulch down, move on to the next one. And I hope all of you have gotten a copy of the aerial photo. It's the same one that's at the top of this sheet, but it shows the beds being identified as bed 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down to bed 8 or 9.
Mr. Roy, I have a PowerPoint presentation.
Oh.
Would you like me to show that?
I
can
think
share the
that's a
screen.
great time, Patty. Thank
Okay.
you.
You're welcome.
Right, thank you. Yes, the PowerPoint. It's a beautiful drone photo of the Riverwalk, taken, I think, just 3 years ago. You can see the early morning fog in the Kennebec River Valley, just looking downstream. Here are the planting beds that we need help on, all the way down the line. The Waterville Rotary Club has already signed up to do that one. So what we're hoping tonight is that people will hear this, will watch it, will say, yeah, our business, our organization, our family could take one of those beds. And really, once you get the weeds out of the bed and the mulch down, on an annual basis, not a lot of work. But it is a lot of work right now because some of the beds have been overgrown quite a bit. That's been our job, is to try to go through the beds to get them to a level where we could say to you, here it is, you want to adopt this one bed, planting bed, keep the weeds from going forward. Do you have something, Jeff?
I don't know the process, but if anybody's interested in helping out on August the 11th and the 19th.
August 11th and the 19th are 2 work days starting at?
You took over the mic a little bit.
Starting at 3.
3 to 4:30.
3 to 4:30, hour and a half. Show up if you can. It won't last long.
What were
Be
the
hard
dates
work.
again, Mike? You were away from the microphone.
I'm sorry.
The dates.
Dates, August 11, August 19,
Okay.
3:30. Yep.
3 to
Oh,
4:30.
There we- Okay, there we are. That shows the planting beds a little bit better. And there's a lot. But I think if we divide it up, it's very doable. And so, and the city's Parks and Rec Department will be there, so. If Jeff and I were to adopt a bed, we would call the city and say, well, that's ours, we need mulch. Parks and Rec would deliver the mulch. We need wheelbarrows, Parks and Rec would do that, help with tools. And if there's plantings that could be done, we're hoping out of the reserve account, or even out of Matt's normal maintenance account, we'd be able to buy some plantings. Some of them just didn't survive when the project was built. And that happens, any plantings you do, you know, they may not survive through the first year or two. And that's happened on a few of the beds. So here's one of our work days. I'll try to stay near the mic. That top one shows us in the middle of doing the weeding. And Jeff, this is lower one here on the right is pretty much one that's been cleaned up, right? Yep. Yep. They're pretty good before and after. Now, who asked me about a small bed? There's a small one you, yep.
So you get the mulch delivered from Public Works, and what about all the stuff you weed out?
Leave it right on the tarp that they provide.
Okay, and they take it away.
Yep,
Can't be easier than that.
yep.
A lot of work.
Well, and Parks and Rec is glad to do it
Just
because
do it.
they won't have to do it themselves as much. So I don't want to take too much of your time. Are there questions from the council that
Clepac.
we can ask?
Clepac, your hand was up.
Yeah. So,
Patty, can we get rid
thank
of this?
you, Mike. Who is
Thank
the volunteer coordinating group? Is Rotary going to be responsible for organizing the coordinating these volunteers, or how is that all going to work?
I pretty much have volunteered to do that. Jeff, I know, is going to help me, but I'll be the first point of contact. So anyone listening tonight or hearing about this, I'd be the one to call or email.
Okay,
Yep.
and that's what you want, a call or an email. And is that information going to be posted to a page on the city website so that people can find it easily?
Yeah, thank you. We hadn't thought of that, but I think we certainly could. I know, oh, you're okay with that, Steve? Yep, thank you. Shall I go through
Okay.
Sarah? All right. Good point, thank you,
Yeah.
Tom.
Just some way we can like direct people. Oh, there's a page at the city's website.
Yep.
And then next question is, has there been, so, those beds you have are lovely, and the like after shots are lovely. However, that is pretty labor intensive stuff. Has there been any thought put into plantings that are native that would be more naturalized, that would require a little bit less labor intensive maintenance? So for example, and I'm not suggesting exactly like this, but for example, you've seen on campus at Colby how Grounds has been doing that sort of thing where you have a contrast of a well manicured lawn in juxtaposition with a sort of more naturalized meadow look. And not to say that extreme, but
Right.
For example, like milkweed is excellent for monarch butterflies, which are endangered now.
Sounds like Tom's gonna take a bed.
Yeah,
We've
I'll get to it right after my front yard.
we've begun examining different ground covers that we're going to use in different areas, so you're exactly right. We've been moving along that line of finding plantings that will require little maintenance, that are native, of course, and can cover up, because some of these planting beds are huge, and you can't possibly
Yeah.
cover every inch with flowering bushes and shrubs. So some of it, I think, has to be some kind of ground cover, and we've been working with one group about that.
All right, let's move on.
Yep. One thing I forgot to mention in the Adopt a Garden program is if you or your organization or group decides to do that, we're going to put a sign up saying, "This bed maintained by Waterville Noontime Rotary Club," or Senna, or KVCC, or New Dimensions Federal Credit Union, or
Name some more so they know you're talking to them.
Mayor Coelho.
I'm gonna take the smallest bed with my 2 children. My girls will like that.
Any other questions?
No. Anybody else have questions for Mike?
Thank you.
Although we heard about the garden thing, can we get a vote on the future care of the Riverwalk?
So before we vote on it, we need to, as I understand, read the language
We have an amendment.
on the amendment. Is that right?
Would you like me, Patty, to read it, or?
Yes.
Yep, please.
Well, let me quickly just summarize. The substitute language couples the Riverwalk and the 2 Cent Bridge together into a Riverwalk Park, formerly designated, and sets aside the $179,000. That's the residual balance in that project account to be used for extra budgetary maintenance, capital replacement and improvements, and matching funds to grants obtained for the same purposes, including lighting of the 2-cent bridge. It also captures future donations and revenues generated through the park's use, such as rents and permits and license fees. And finally, it limits annual use of the account to $10,000 without further council approval. And that works the same way as the drug forfeiture account. So that's a quick summary of what all that language says.
So what do you need us to amend? Or is that part of, is that what you need? Okay.
That is the amendment.
It's the amendment to the initial resolution. That
Correct.
was,
Yes.
right, because there are two pieces here.
Yep.
Amending the original language from the resolution and then
Moving it
converting it from a resolution to an order.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
forward. Can I
I,
make a motion for that?
oh, yeah,
It's
I'll
already-
move.
It's already been amended, the order, and that language is part of it, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Okay,
all
we're
set.
just trying
Well,
to
no,
cross all
you
the
you
Ts.
amended it to an order.
Yeah.
And
Now we have to amend it to add that language
you have to amend it to substitute this language
with the original.
for the original.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I need an amendment.
Okay.
Right. Okay, I'll
is-
move that.
Okay,
Second.
thank you. Shall we vote on that, Mayor?
Please.
Counselor DeBrito?
Yes.
Counselor Klepak?
We're going to get this.
Yeah.
Counselor Green?
Yes.
Counselor Frankie?
Yes.
Counselor McCormick?
Yes.
Vote is 5 in favor and 0 opposed. Now we can move it as amended.
Go ahead.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Patty, can you get a roll call?
Counselor DeBrito?
Yes.
Counselor Klepak?
Yep.
Counselor Green?
Yes.
Counselor Frankie?
Yes.
Counselor McCormick?
Yes.
The vote is 5 in favor and 0 opposed.
Thank you,
All right.
everyone.
Go ahead.
Could I just add a thank you to Mike and Jeff for the garden program, the Adopt a Garden program. I think this really adds a lot will add a lot to the Riverwalk and really turns it into a true public-private partnership where we have investment from the city and from the community. And I'm excited about where this will go. I hope that a lot of people come out for the work days. It's an opportunity to make our city more beautiful and maybe learn a thing or two about gardening. So I appreciate it.
And if we could get that 2-cent bridge lighted someday,
Yeah.
Oh, that's coming now.
that would be wonderful.
Don't you
Right.
worry. I've been begging for that for years. So we're. I hope to see something come in front of this council very soon for that bridge lighting.
Well, I did let Sarah know in Steve's office that we did get an estimate for a lighting project a few years back, so we have that somewhere.
Yep.
I looked for it with her and I couldn't find it. But anyway, we've been down that.
I'm sure another one's going to appear quickly. Steve,
Yes.
we got to talk again tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. Moving on to Order 163, 2022.
Authorizing a referendum election to be held on November 8, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Yes. Patty, can you tell us about it?
Yes, this will authorize a referendum election for charter amendments that were found during a review of the charter and the municipal code. There were some inconsistencies in sections about vacancies for the city council and the board of education. And then there's also the question about the charter amendment regarding the ward redistricting and having the ability to base the redistricting on an amendment to the census, should that take place. This language has been reviewed by the city solicitor, but there is a proposed amendment to clarify or make it a little cleaner. And that would be basically to take out a comma and replace with parentheses around, except the results of said review will be used if one has been conducted. So if I could have that as a motion to amend.
Move to amend.
Second.
Second.
Shall we vote on the
Yes,
amendment,
please,
or
Kim.
do we want to discuss it further?
Would it be helpful to read that sentence, because it
Yes.
is very long?
It's long and it has a lot of commas in it.
It does, and this will remove one.
Right.
But then it's
And-
going to add parentheses.
Yes, but I think it will make it more understandable.
So should I just read that line
Yes.
until
Yes.
the end of the parenthesis?
Yes, please.
Within 2 years of the federal decennial census, and then we're adding the language, or any review thereof by the Census Bureau, comma, the city clerk shall, based on the results of, and we're striking out said, and we're adding the census, and then we're removing the comma and we're adding an open paren, except the results of said review will be used if one has been conducted, and then we're adding an end parenthesis.
Right.
Okay?
So, right, we're adding the clause about the review, and we're saying that if there is a review, those results will be used.
Correct.
Okay.
Which is something I would vote yes for. I'm absolutely voting in favor
Have
of
we
that.
heard any more on the review?
No.
Okay.
Nope. And it's important that people understand that. Really, this is just giving us an opportunity, when they vote on this, to wait until that process is done. Because if not, we're going to be using very flawed numbers that are going to hurt us as a city for years to come. So let's
Right.
not do that.
And it's important for the voters to understand what they're voting on in November, so we want to get the language right here.
Yep. All right. Any more discussion? Patty, can I get a roll call?
So voting on the amendment,
Yep.
Counselor DeBrito,
Yes.
Counselor Klepak,
Yes.
Counselor Green,
Yes.
Counselor Frankie,
Yes.
Counselor McCormick.
Yes.
The vote is 5 in favor and 0 opposed.
All right.
So now, can we move as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Please, roll call.
All set?
Yep.
Counselor DeBrito,
Yes.
Counselor Klepak,
Yes.
Counselor Green,
Yes.
Counselor Frankie,
Yes.
Counselor McCormick.
Yes.
The vote is 5 in favor and 0 opposed.
All right. Moving on to ordinance 165, 2022.
Amend the comprehensive plan review ordinance.
Which is something we discussed last time. Or so any,
We need a motion to put it on the
oh,
floor.
that's right.
Motion.
I'll second.
Second.
Any discussion? Patty, can I get a roll call?
Counselor DeBrito,
Yes.
Counselor Klepak,
Yes.
Counselor Green,
Yes.
Counselor Frankie,
Yes.
Counselor McCormick.
Yes.
The vote is 5 in favor and 0 opposed.
Moving on to ordinance 166, 2022.
Amend the
So
airport
moved.
ordinance to remove the airport advisory board.
Go ahead, Flavia, do it again.
So moved.
Do I get a second?
Second.
There we go. Patty, can I get a roll call?
Okay. Counselor DeBrito,
Yes.
Counselor Klepak,
Yep.
Counselor Green,
Yes.
Counselor Frankie,
Yes.
Counselor McCormick.
Yes.
The vote is 5 in favor and 0 opposed.
Moving on to ordinance 167, 2022.
Motion.
Amend the streets and sidewalks ordinance to remove Article 4 streetlights.
Got a motion?
Motion to
Motion.
adopt?
Second?
Second.
Motion to adopt.
I need a second.
Okay.
Second.
All right, there we go.
All set?
Yeah, any discussion? Patty, can I get a roll call?
Counselor DeBrito,
Yes.
Counselor Klepak,
Yes.
Counselor Green,
Yes.
Counselor Frankie,
Yes.
Counselor McCormick.
Yes.
The vote is 5 in favor and 0 opposed.
All right, moving on to new business. Resolution 172, 2022.
Ratify a collective bargaining agreement, AFSCME.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Second.
She thirded it. Bobby Joe, you want to tell us about it?
Sure. This is our general government group. This is our clerical staff. It covers 11 positions in the city. It is a 3-year bargaining agreement, and it's a really good contract for the city. Takes care of them, brings the pay plan in alignment with the pay and salary and benefits study that we had done. So it's a really good deal for the city and for the employees, and it will help us with retention and recruitment as well.
Counselor Green, go ahead.
And the budget impact on the city?
So the budget impact for the first year is $65,000, but that is already covered in the budget between individual departments and the HR budget.
Great.
Any other questions? I want to thank everybody involved. I also want to thank Claude. Claude's been a part of most of these union negotiations, and they've gone pretty well. So thank you, Claude. We aren't pulling our hair out these last few years, so it's pretty good. No other questions? Can I get a vote on this, please? Patty, roll call.
Counselor DeBrito,
Yes.
Counselor Klepak,
Yep.
Counselor Green,
Yes.
Counselor Frankie,
Yes.
Counselor McCormick.
Yes.
The vote is 5 in favor and 0 opposed.
Moving on to ordinance 173, 2022.
Amend the zoning ordinance 208 Rod Road.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Didn't we talk about this new, it went to the planning board, it's come back?
Yes, we discussed it, we sent it to the planning board and had a discussion
Is
then.
there somebody here from the planning board?
No, but I believe the, a project,
Yep,
Yeah.
all right. Do we know how they voted? I mean,
they,
obviously it came back to us,
they
but.
voted 7-0, I believe.
Okay.
Yep.
All right,
Yeah.
that's important. Any discussion on this? Any other questions? Patty, can I get a roll call?
Counselor DeBrito,
Yes.
Counselor Klepak,
Yep.
Counselor Green,
Yes.
Counselor Frankie,
Yes.
Counselor McCormick.
Yes.
The vote is 5 in favor and 0 opposed.
All right, moving on to public comments. Yeah, your turn, public. You're the public.
Hi, Cindy Jacobs, Ward 4, but I'm here with a Ward 6 issue and my library hat. There's a group of folks that have purchased the Pagoda Express and are opening a new library, a new restaurant. They're sitting right here. You might want to come up. Come on up. This is Tony, May, and Sandy. And one of the reasons I'm sharing this is because they're a little they're a little not sure that you're going to understand their English, but I think they do really well. So, but we're having a problem with, and I think many of you are aware, their building is at the end of the concourse right across from the library, and there's a sidewalk there that is a huge loitering problem. It's been going on for years. We've kind of looked at it for years. No one's really done anything about it. It was always a question mark, who owned the sidewalk, who owned the roof. We now have that all clarified. The roof is owned by the condominium owners and the sidewalk is owned by the city. So these folks have been there, how long have you been there now? 2 months? A month? Okay, they moved in June. And I noticed right away that they cleaned a lot of things up, but I'm going to let Sandy tell you what happens there daily.
Yes.
Go ahead,
We have, I think they spoke that earlier, that this littering problem has been going on for years, and she thought us that need to be fixed too. Every day we went there cleaning. There's people outside at the hallway. We seen a lot of trash outside. There's people asking for people for money. I don't think that's good for business. There's people screaming outside, playing radio. It's very loud. And there's even girls asked for one of my friends that was cleaning inside. It's doing processing for a certain amount of money or whatever's going on. I don't think that's appropriate. there's a lot of things going on is that need to be, they talking for language too. So I think it's a big issue that need to be fixed.
Steve, can we talk to the chief?
So, here.
Can we talk to the chief? I mean, it sounds prudent that we have more people patrolling that area, or at least
Yeah,
figuring out why it's a hotspot.
We're aware of the problem, and what Cindy is saying is accurate. It's been there for a number of years now with a very ineffective means of dealing with it by the city. And what I would ask is that you refer the matter to the city manager, administration, to come back to the council with a plan of how to address it.
Yeah, can we do that? Because, I mean,
Pardon
that's
me?
right downtown. We'd like that not to look that way.
So would I.
All right.
Everybody's in pretty much agreement with that.
Yeah.
It would be super, and I think it'll be much safer for the community. That's one of the biggest problems, is that, we've had library patrons for years.
Is that
be
piece
harassed.
of property that we've been talking about, maybe putting a road through?
Yes. Well, the sidewalk will still be there.
Yes.
The sidewalk will still be there because the city owns the sidewalk and it's right next to the building.
But if there are cars driving by, you may be less likely?
There are other urban deterrents that you can put on a top of a wall that will not allow people to sit there, that are safe to put there, like there are these little metal balls. But the big thing is that people congregate there, and, we've heard for years, people get harassed. And it does sound like they're getting worse, and now I'm starting to hear, they use the other end where the stairs are as a toilet. That's attractive. And it is sort of
Yeah.
a dark stairway, so we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, and I think now we've identified it. These folks really would like some help. They sort of explored trying to take the roof off there, because we kind of thought if there was not a roof there, that people might not congregate there, but we're not sure if, they own the roof. A, we're not sure structurally if you can actually do that, and B, it'd be kind of an expensive, remodeling job.
Who owns the roof?
Well,
The condominium units do.
Okay.
the other thing there is, one of the reasons people congregate is not only is there shade. There is certainly shade at various points in that mall there, but there's the wall. There's that little ledge that they can all sit on. There's a place for them to sit. So rather than remove the ceiling, if a road were to go past there and you removed that wall where there was nothing for them to sit on, that seems like that would stop. Even if there was no road, just not having a wall, which is like a de facto bench.
Or making the top of the wall uncomfortable to sit on.
Yeah, there are a lot of things. It's the city's, these guys, that we've all figured out now that it's the city's responsibility, and they're asking for some help because they're trying to run a nice new business for themselves. So I think we're all set.
We'll take care of it.
Yep, super. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I just want to add to what
Thank you.
Councilor Klepak said about, finding an alternative, amenities for folks who might be looking for shade or who do need a place to gather. At one point, we had a park in the concourse, which was a place to gather, and obviously, we don't want people urinating on the streets.
As I say, gathering is one thing, but what's been going on that particular area is a total other thing.
Yeah, so I'm just saying.
I've watched it for years.
Right, I'm just saying that let's look at a plan to, provide
Shelter
within
and-
reason, things that folks may be needing, aside from,
They're
so that
going
they
there
don't have
for
to
a
sit on the
reason.
step.
So we have to find and make sure that the people that are going there, the ones that are seeking shelter, not doing nefarious things, have another place to go where they can seek some of that shelter to be cool in the heat.
Well, one of the things that we realized is a lot of those folks did used to hang around down by the Riverwalk. And then they sort of got moved down to the far end of the Riverwalk. And now that's all construction vehicles and all that. So people have moved in various places, and in discussing it with Matt, who's, with Parks and Rec, is very familiar with how groups of people move around the city to different places, and I totally understand and respect that. But the things that are happening right there are not just relaxing and seeking shelter.
We get that.
It's a lot worse than that.
Yep.
No, I
Okay.
mean, I lived right there. My apartment window was right above that thing. People would just sit there and smoke pot. It's like, there's a ledge in the shade.
Yeah.
It's kind of,
Yep.
secluded a little bit, and people would sit there and just kind of hang out.
Yep. But I also agree that people do need a place to be, so I think we can probably address both things.
Yep.
All right. Counselor Oliveira. Or DeBrito now.
Oh, no.
I messed up.
Brito, I know. That's okay. No, I was just saying about what Rebecca said about finding an alternative, because a lot of those people that are staying there are homeless. So, and they are looking for shade. They are, I mean, and because the cameras are going in Riverwalk, I'm also seeing the shift of where they're going. So it's finding a safe alternative for people to go during the day with the shade. So, because if it's not with that location, they're going to be going to another location.
Counselor Green.
Just one more thing to add on the plan that we come up with. I think it needs to include some solution for trash in the concourse. I've heard several people complaining that there are no trash cans there, and I think at one point there were, but I think it is an important element of keeping that area clean and allowing to have some place for trash to go so that it doesn't go on the road.
Yeah. These folks actually have put a trash can and a broom out there and have been going out there several times a day to clean things up.
Right. Well, that is very impressive, thank you. But I do think that the city should have some obligation to help with that. It shouldn't be your responsibility.
Right.
And also, to your note, Rebecca, like, is the city really going there more often than they should because of these people are just hanging out there? Because I think the city, I mean, if we are seeing people move into like little areas, and it's housing. This all has to do with housing. This is all part of not having enough housing and homelessness, which is going to get a lot worse. So in these places like that, can we have Public Works be a little bit more present at night and clean up a little bit?
Yeah, but I think it's going to
That's
be.
not the answer.
That's not the answer. I think we need, Public Works would be great to have out there, or Parks and Rec, but I think what we need is more police presence out there.
Well, how about that mental
Yeah,
health
but-
social worker too,
Yes,
who's
that's-
going to,
Yes.
help people get the
Yeah.
resources that they
Yep.
need rather than,
What else do you mean by the police department?
yeah.
I'm not saying actual
Yeah,
patrol
no,
officers.
no, I'm
Okay.
saying now we have that resource now.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's exactly really what it was intended for, to say, can I help you find a meal? Or do you need to, clean up, or whatever it is, rather than
Yeah.
just, move along kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I'm
And also too, like the city of Waterville does not have a community center. So we don't have a place where somebody in the community can just go.
though
And
I would add, though, that we now have a wonderful soup kitchen on College Ave.
Yep.
I believe it's College Ave, across from the post office, that is welcoming of people. And not, I believe, I don't know what their hours are, but, that is a very welcome place to go. And so
And there's
we're
plenty
getting
of,
there.
the homeless shelter has people, they don't serve people away for meals. I mean, there are places in the city that if people needed a place to go in the heat, they can go. So
Right.
we've done a lot over the last year and a half to make sure that the most vulnerable among us have an opportunity to go eat, to go get shade, to go get heat. They're not forgotten. So this is a little bit extra. This is going to require, like Rebecca said, the getting of our mental health officer to go out there and sort of, even if you don't want to get off the streets, we can maneuver you around, try to get you the resources that you need so that you don't have to be that way.
And also too, for the resources that you guys say you guys do have right now, are they on the website? Do people know about this? Like where they can go for shade? Where can they go for resources? I hear about the restricted?
No, but
it's all
we'll
this
get you that.
information on the website.
We'll get that on there for you.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay, because people need to know about what's available in Waterville.
We should also be posting somewhere else, because more than likely, if you're homeless, you don't have access to the internet.
Right. Right.
So we should find some other way to communicate. Anyone else?
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, councilor comments.
Tonight's South End Festival on Green Street Park, held by the South End Neighborhood Association, was a resounding success, even with the rain. I'm sure the mayor and the chair will attest to. I want to thank all the organizations, committees, the police, the fire department, Gifford's Ice Cream, the church groups that showed up with food. We appreciate their donations, their time, and look forward to doing it again next year. Thank you.
It's good, even with the rain.
Even with the rain, nobody complained about the rain.
No, because it was so hot, the rain helped.
It was
It's true.
that a little bit of lightning or thunder, not a problem. It was a resounding success.
All right. Any other counselors? I've got nothing.
Motion to adjourn.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.